All right. Feliz Jueves, everybody. Welcome to the Dropping the Hammer Racing Hour.
Thanks, Michael. Welcome, as he said, welcome to another episode of the Dropping the Hammer Racing Hour on the Grueling Truth, where legends speak. I'm Alex Gray, along here with Michael Klein, and we're welcome to bring back a guest that we've had on before, Mr. Brock Beard. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Absolutely.
Hey, man.
All right.
Yeah, just had to start off with that. I've had that clip stuck in my head just all day for some reason.
Oh, it's no worries. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So, with that being said, boy, we got some stuff to cover. Obviously, coming off of Homestead, big weekend there, especially how intriguing the Cup race was. We'll get to that here in just a second, and as well as some other bits of news that have gone out throughout the week, and then, of course, prepping for Vegas. All right. So, 2021 so far is starting to shadow over 2011 in terms of first-time winners. In Cup, we have seen Michael McDowell and Christopher Bell. In Xfinity, we have Myatt Snider getting his first win. Of course, Ty Gibbs won the Daytona Road Course race, and Myatt Snider ended up winning his first career Xfinity race at Homestead. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was something. And I guess we do have to talk about some of the controversy surrounding that.
Yeah. Obviously, about, 2-3 laps ago, Noah Gragson was leading. David Starr, who was driving the 13 Whataburger Toyota for MBM, he was running 13th. He was having a very solid run. Some of those smaller teams actually had some pretty solid runs at one point. And unfortunately, as Gragson stuck to that high line, which has been a go-to place at Homestead, Starr's car blew a tire right in front of Gragson. Just poor timing. My opinion, it's just a racing thing. It's never over till it's over. It's just Gragson was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And this started a lot of controversy, especially on social media. And I just wanted to hear your all's thoughts on the things that Gragson said and even afterward.
I get him being upset in the moment in his interview.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's like, when you look at the facts, you really can't put the blame on anybody there. Honestly, I think what we've been seeing from both sides has been kind of ridiculous in the aftermath. I don't think Noah could have avoided him at any point there. Just too much speed there, and you can't turn these things on a dime. At the same time, you can't help a front tire going down. That happens, you're going straight into the wall. So There's really no point in going after David Starr for that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Brock, any thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree. It was just an absolute racing deal, and again, I definitely understand Noah's frustrations. We heard very similar rhetoric from him last fall when he just lost that last corner battle with Harrison Burton at Texas. These are some brutal ways to lose races, and if you lose a couple of them not too far apart, like those, I wouldn't blame anybody of any age for being that way. But quite honestly, though, I'm with Mike Joy in his tweet earlier this week that drivers such as him, although Mr. Joy wasn't referring to Noah specifically, need to show a bit more respect for some of these underfunded drivers and veterans of the sport that have really worked to kind of get there. Because, as you said, David Starr was having a great run. Motorsports Business Management, they've been struggling to kind of get things going in both Xfinity and Cup. And to hear David Starr getting, I think he was even gaining even another spot after he was going to be in a position to be solidly in the top 15, then have that go away. I think it would have been, if anybody had more of a right to be upset, it was going to be David Starr. But we didn't really hear that in that case.
Yeah.
No, David Starr honestly always kind of seemed like kind of a cool-minded individual. He never seems to get angry with anybody. I'm sure he probably took a lot more a more mature approach to handling that issue, which was probably just to not say anything, in that deal.
Yeah.
When you have a driver attacking you like that, And when you're already going to be upset that you just had a top 15 for a team like that slip away, that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
But, I hate to see him being dragged into this. Seems like over something that was just a total racing deal.
Yeah, it was a racing deal, and obviously a guy like David Starr, who's been racing for quite a long time. I remember when Michael and I were kids, he was driving the 75 truck. Was it Spears? I think that was the name of the sponsor. But,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but, yeah, I mean, I always believed he was one of the most respectable guys in the garage area. He's always smiling, always a friendly guy. Matter of fact, I think he was one of the first drivers for Levine Family Racing back in 2011 when they came on the circuit. So, including with Mike Joy's tweet, by the way, for those of you that missed it, he said the following, and it's pretty short, I'll go ahead and say it real quick. Our sport has always had, quote, funded drivers, but it's time a few of these privileged kids, powered by daddy's pile of cash, realize this whole sport doesn't exist just to make their dreams come true. Take some time to learn from those who've worked their way to the top, which Mike Joy's a national treasure, and one of those reasons is why. I agree, and a lot of drivers, Tommy Joe Martins, Camden Murphy, Ryan Vargas, a lot of these guys definitely agreed with him. I do too. That there's a lot of drivers, you look at, as I just mentioned, like a David Starr, like a Tommy Joe Martins, like a Jordan Anderson, some of these guys who don't come in with all this sponsorship, right? But, they work their butts off to get to where they are now, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, just having worked with several ARCA teams, like Prater or Peterson and Cadell, I mean, they put more into this effort than any of the top teams do with what little resources they have. Because these are people who, the only reason they do it is because they love the sport. And so they're willing to give it their all just to be at the track.
No, exactly. And, really, that's something that it's not new in the sport either. I think that's the problem a lot of these kids these days have, is they approach this as if these slower drivers and veteran competitors and underfunded cars, like, they shouldn't even be out there. They're always in the way. That's been around since the sport even before it started. In my Rise of the Field Fillers series I do on YouTube, I talk a lot about, these different trends, and it's cyclical. Every once in a while you have more of these teams that are underfunded that, are just doing the best they can. Other times you have fewer of them because more people have the funding, but they're never going to go away. I always say you can't legislate away slower cars. And it's even more frustrating in this case because, as we said, Starr was outperforming in that car at this particular time. And, getting a top 15 finish at a downforce track is nothing to sneeze at no matter who you are. So I think that's really the big difference in this case.
Right.
Yeah, it's just an all-around unfortunate situation. But, they'll move past it. We'll head into this week. They'll give it their all again. And it's just going to be another distant memory for these guys.
Yeah, pretty much. You can't dwell on it. You move on. That's all you can do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 100% positive Noah Gregson's going to get a win here.
He will. He's too. Yeah, he'll get a few wins this season for sure. I wouldn't be too surprised. So, sometimes it happens. It's part of racing. It's just a racing deal. So, yeah. So controversy from that Xfinity race. Moving over to the Cup race. This Cup race was actually relatively entertaining, I thought. I was really impressed with Chris Buescher and Roush Fenway Racing. Buescher had he looked like Matt Kenseth in 2005 in that car at one point before the sun set. And, of course, sometimes everyone's car is built differently, especially for a day-to-night transition race. Some cars who really start to come into their own as the sun sets and it gets darker and it gets cooler. But early on, Chris Buescher won Stage 1. He was running up front, and unfortunately he ended up falling back. But Ryan Newman also ran solid, getting a 7th-place finish. So I got to tip my hat to Roush Fenway Racing, a really, really solid run, and I think that was much needed for that team.
Absolutely. I think it just shows that they're hopefully on the path to getting back to where they were back in the 2000s.
Yeah, you know, I'm hoping that's the case too. You know, that once upon a time, you know, they were a force to be reckoned with. You know, they had 4 or 5 cars out there that always competed for wins and championships. And in the old chase format, they had all 500 guys make up half the chase field at one point. So, obviously, it was kind of nice to see them running back up there. Who would have thought to kick off the 2021 Cup Series season, maybe perhaps Fox is right, this could be the best season ever. We see Michael McDowell, who, by the way, got another top 10. He is having a dream season right now. This has got to be the story of the season right now. Michael McDowell winning the Daytona 500. You know, he had that issue early in the road course race. He fought back, and then he gets a 6th place, a really strong run at Homestead. This team is all in right now.
Absolutely. You know, and yeah, I saw somebody bring this up, and I'm not going to say this is the case, but it certainly makes you think. It makes you wonder if maybe Front Row has decided to put more of their resources towards the 34 car to see if they could improve the performance there while having the other car kind of be a development car for rookies. Because it just doesn't seem to make sense, honestly, to have a car that's always been 20th, 30th be this good all of a sudden.
I think that's what happened, honestly. I can see that being the case for sure. And at this point, you know, you're looking at the current situation. Next year, next-gen car, new car, right? Everybody's going to get new cars, which means obviously, you know, money's going to be involved. And I think personally, you know, imagine if McDowell had a strong season, makes the playoffs, and potentially makes a run. That's a good paycheck for Front Row Motorsports, and it can help them towards next gen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, it's just a thought there, because I'm you know, obviously we're still a year away or less than a year away from the next gen car, but obviously I've always been curious, how's it going to affect race teams? And as I was mentioning, who would have thought the season would have started off with McDowell, Bell, and William Byron winning races? You know, we think the usual suspects: Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski. It's been an interesting start to the season.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, just to say the least. I mean, it's just at this point, it's where, you know, how much further is it going to go for McDowell with the top 10 streak? I mean, one thing I was pointing out the other day, you know, if he's able to keep it going, I mean, it's not to say whether, you know, he's already proven himself to be very impressive this year, as you've said, but personally to me, if he keeps it going through Las Vegas, or even if he gets a decent finish here, that would be a huge turnaround for him, because he's finished last at the spring race at Las Vegas 3 different times for 3 different teams, including the one he's driving for right now. So if he can turn things around here and get a good finish in this race, and mind you, in some of those runs, he was running very well in those too. I believe the last one he was running in the top 10 when the engine let go. So, you know, maybe this is a track where, you know, like you said, they're all in and trying to get something good going. And, yeah, man, if they get something good here, I think that's something they can really build on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually some breaking news here coming now. J.J. Yeley to race in some races for MBM.
Oh, really? Wow, okay.
Yeah, I've been wondering what J.J. Yeley would be up to this year, because I hadn't heard anything announced.
Yeah,
well, that's a good deal for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping he'd come back and run some midget races with us, especially with them going to Lucas Oil more now.
Yeah. Well, that's certainly good to hear for Mr. J.J. Yeley. Obviously, been racing for a long time, and obviously it's still nice to get to see him out there on the track.
Been really pleased with him in the Xfinity series too. He's been a big part of getting Rick Ware's Xfinity team back underway between himself and Cody Ware last year, between Ware at the Roval and Yeley at Martinsville, and then Yeley again having a good run at Homestead. I think, you know, even some top 15 runs there is something they can really build on for a program that maybe they haven't been as involved in the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with you on that. And taking a look at Homestead real quick, Tyler Reddick finishing second. I always thought RCR was going to be a team to watch this year. Obviously, he had the faster car, and I think he had a little more time. He could have caught Byron. Truex got third. Larson, pretty impressive start. I thought Larson was going to have a slow start on the season, but he's proven me wrong. He's already up there in contention for wins, so he's having a solid start. Kevin Harvick fifth, obviously McDowell sixth, Newman seventh, Kurt Busch eighth, Bowman ninth, and Kyle Busch rounding out the top 10. And 15th place for Daniel Suarez. Actually, we were just talking about this before the podcast started. It's streaming. It might have just finished premiering. On NASCAR's YouTube channel, they just premiered a behind-the-scenes of Trackhouse Racing and their preparations for the season as a new team, and obviously showcasing how they've been doing at Daytona and the road course. So I was really intrigued by that, and it just kind of makes me want to follow their story even more. I'm really, obviously, I know 2311 Racing has been huge excitement, but Trackhouse Racing too, be on the lookout for those guys.
I have to agree. I mean, I think they're really the dark horses this year with, a lot of the great runs that they've been having. I mean, Suarez got sick in the car at the Daytona road course, still got 16th there. And you mentioned Childress doing, this being a season for them to be one to watch. I mean, of course, the support that they have on the 99 team, I think maybe in some people's minds, because Justin Marks' connection and Marks himself not having as much of a presence in NASCAR, maybe expected results closer to some of the other smaller teams out there, but they've been right in the mix and actually even finishing better than 2311. So if this is another rivalry in the match here between the Pitbull car and the Michael Jordan car, I think that's going to be another great storyline to talk about.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch, I think, going down the line as the season continues. So
absolutely. Looking forward to seeing that and how 2311 grows.
Absolutely. And obviously, same deal with Live Fast. Obviously, they're off to a struggling start, but I think, again, that team can really grow. It's a very interesting team, too, especially with McLeod and Matt Tiff being the youngest owner in the garage area. So definitely another team to watch will be the 78 as well. Didn't want to forget about those guys.
Absolutely. Quite honestly, I expected the Trackhouse and McLeod team to be about at the same level. They've kind of been in different directions so far, but they might be able to close the McLeod team. May be able to close the gap there. And I see that they got the Surface sunscreen sponsorship that Tift had and a lot of his runs that's coming on board here. So they've got the backing. So that's going to be a huge help going forward.
Definitely.
And let's just talk about this real quick. Live Fast hired Shane Golobic to run the Bristol Dirt Race. Now, who here can say they saw that coming?
Oh, no, not I.
At all.
Yeah, I definitely see that coming.
I expected them to at least find somebody with some stock car experience, but, man, I'm pumped to see that for him, though. K1 teammate of mine, so definitely good to see these guys, who are just running the dirt stuff, get this opportunity. I mean, it's honestly proved to be a bigger opportunity for these guys than I ever thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting so many of these dirt winners now. We had Chris Windham announced last week to drive for Rick Ware, and now we have Shane Golobic announced. It wouldn't shock me to hear maybe some guys like Tanner Thorson or Logan Seavey announce that they'll be doing it too, whether it's in a truck or a cup car. It's honestly just, I knew it was going to be somewhat of a good opening for these dirt guys to come up with the Bristol Dirt Race, but I honestly didn't expect it would be this big for them.
I think it's good. I think it's really good for NASCAR, especially.
Oh, it's great.
It's huge. I mean, we could get a scenario much like Bobby Pierce was at the beginning of the Truck Series race at Eldora, where you have a guy that's already an established dirt track racer and suddenly becomes a guy that could very easily potentially be somebody that wins in their first Cup start or the first of a few Cup starts. So hopefully we'll see some more ringers come in. And, of course, much like with Pierce with the late Mike Mittler's team, you bring some more exposure to some of these small teams that we're seeing out there or teams that you don't usually see up there, kind of like what they've done, back when we had road course ringers a little more regularly in NASCAR.
Yep.
We need to find Bobby Pierce a ride for this race.
Hey, he's got my vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say put him in maybe the MBM car. See what he can do there.
Yeah. You could probably put him in the 66 or something like that. But talking about small teams getting exposure and everything else, Marcus Lemonis is probably one of the best people for NASCAR right now, because this coming weekend, he is going to have, if you don't know, he's the CEO of Camping World and Gander Outdoors and all that. He has been very, very actively involved, more than ever now, with NASCAR, and a ton of trucks are going to get sponsored by Camping World. I'm trying to name off some, Sheldon Creed.
Yeah, it's at 10 now, I think.
Yeah, like 10 trucks are going to be Camping World sponsored. So, obviously, that's great. That is amazing to hear for all these teams involved. It's going to be a good paycheck. It's going to be good exposure. And it's going to make Camping World look great, too.
Absolutely. I mean, shades of Operation Desert Support, where you had a bunch of unsponsored teams in the Daytona 500, and the R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company jumped on with a kind of promotion where they represented 5 different cars representing 5 different branches of the military. And, of course, the late Alan Quickie being one of those. Similar scenario where you have a lot of underfunded teams in the truck series. I mean, you got Hill Motorsports that just joined up today. And these other programs out there and some of them that have had great runs. I mean, we've seen Cody Rohrbaugh and Jordan Anderson in the mix at Daytona the last couple of years here, getting them some more exposure. And of course, guys like Norm Benning have already been, big fan favorites already. He was just having fans purchase decals in the back deck lid of his truck just a couple of weeks ago. So getting some more attention to build on that. I think it's great. Anything that helps the small teams, I think, is something to be applauded. So definitely big thumbs up to Marcus Lemonis on that.
Certainly. And speaking of which, Friday night, so it's being recorded on Thursday. So tomorrow night, Louisville, Kentucky's Ben Rhodes will lead the field to the green flag at Vegas. Won the first 2 races in a row, off to arguably the best start of his career. Can he keep it going?
Yeah, I'm going to shoot my shot with Camping World and send a sponsorship proposal towards them. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, Camping World. How about Michael Klein here?
Come on, you want to sponsor somebody in USAC.
Absolutely. This is the guy right here, man. Right here. We're talking to him.
Yeah. And, I mean, I'm trying to get to the Truck Series. I'm trying to get approved for that by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I'll make it worth your investment.
Heck yeah.
Well, that's a great promotion there. I mean, I think we are having a new team. I think Brett Holmes' team is making its debut in the Truck Series this week. Maybe this will be a way to kind of encourage more drivers and teams to join the series. I mean, they already have pretty big entry lists, but maybe that'll keep that going.
Yeah, I mean, I know I would be all over this now if I was approved to run.
Yeah, absolutely. And with all these entries coming in, I think it's safe to say we want qualifying back, folks.
Yes.
You don't want to bring back practice, that's fine. At least qualifying. Because I feel bad for, again, like Jordan Anderson in his Xfinity program. Qualifying rained out at Daytona, now he's not going to get a shot for a while. And it's kind of like, this is where we need it back.
Well, then you have all these entangling alliances that have forced people to kind of work outside the box. Just today you had Our Motorsports acquire the number 23, the former RSS racing entry that was already being picked up with the Riam brothers to get Natalie Decker in Xfinity, and now that's complicated further with being the second entry. So who knows how that's going to shake out.
I think they said that Decker is still going to run the races she was scheduled. I think that's what I heard.
Okay.
So, that being said, I think, by the way, you mentioned the Bristol Dirt Race. Chase Briscoe announced today he is going to compete in the dirt truck race for Corey Roper's truck.
Oh, no, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was announced earlier today.
Yep. Let's see here. Speed Sport Racing News putting out some reports on this. He will pilot the number 04 Roper Racing Ford, sponsorship from Texacon, Cutstone, and Huffy. Actually, there's a rendering of it, and I absolutely love the paint scheme. It looks nice.
Excellent.
Hey, Sean, is that a Huffy?
Well, that's going to be great. Even more exposure for, you talk about another underfunded team out there. I mean, the Roper Racing team, we saw how close Corey himself came to winning the Daytona opener there, and I'm sure Briscoe's going to give it a good showing, too, in the 0-4.
Absolutely. And obviously, won the Eldor truck race back in, what was it, 2017, I think it was, 2018?
Yeah, 2018.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, he drove that 5th ThorSport truck at that time. So, what other bits of news did you guys want to cover? Because I know, it's kind of been all over the place.
Well, one more dirt ringer that I would love to see in the mix is I'm waiting for Rico Abreu to show up again.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And
that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one I'm surprised I haven't heard in the mix yet, man. He's here in California, he's a big celebrity, so I'd love to see him back out there again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, wouldn't Shane Galdick be a pretty big guy out there too? I think he's from California.
I think so. I don't follow the dirt scene too closely, but I think there's definitely more than their share of people running up in this area. I'm waiting for action to open up at our local track in Placerville here, and seeing who the new faces are going to be out there too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're running out there later this year.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll hook you up with some pit passes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we're right on. Well, thank you. Well, hey,
no
whatever works out there, man. You know where to find me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to run out there. I mean, from the video I've seen, it looks like a really fun track to race on.
It's a good facility. They got we just recently moved a little further east here a couple of years ago, but dedicated fan base out there. I know a bunch of race fans, just like anybody else at a lot of these other small tracks out there, trying to get back to some semblance of normalcy here. But hopefully we're getting closer to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like a real nice quarter-mile bull ring, and those are the kind of tracks I really love to run on. I mean, I'd really like to go out there and race a sprint car.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a midget. I mean,
yeah.
Hey, there you go.
By the way, just a list of the drivers that are going to be hooked up with Camping World sponsorship at Vegas. The 2 of Sheldon Creed, the 3 of Jordan Anderson, the 6 of Norm Benning, Grant Enfinger is in the 9 in Corey Robor's truck. Raphael Lessard, Jesse Awuji, B.J. McLeod, he's going to be in the 34 for the Riom brothers, Dawson Cram, Tyler Hill, and Parker Kligerman.
Yeah, that's a big group.
That's awesome. I love that.
I mean, hopefully we get a couple of them in the top 10 or top 5. Some of them start getting some of those bonuses for Mr. Lamonis, and we'll find out. I mean, they're all going to have to be chasing Kyle Busch, though.
Yeah, some of those trucks we're definitely going to get at least one of them in the top 10, probably more.
Oh, absolutely.
Vegas is kind of a crapshoot too with the trucks. I mean, they've put on really good shows there, which is kind of surprising from one series to the other. Especially the September race has usually been some of their best racing there. So hopefully we'll be able to keep that streak going this weekend.
Oh, I agree completely. As a matter of fact, let me check. Kyle Busch is running in the truck race, right?
Yeah, he's taking. Yeah, it's not Parker Chase this week.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's getting second?
Exactly.
Oh boy.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe Ben Rhodes gets his 3rd straight win, right?
It's certainly possible.
Maybe. Love to see that.
Yeah, our Kentucky boy, Ben Rhodes. Oh, yeah, man. I am loving this season so far. This has been a season that I've pretty much been more hyped than ever before. Let's see, Josh Berry, by the way, he's going to be driving at Nashville in the iRacing Chevy. You've seen the paint scheme there.
I love that announcement. I just love the way they did that.
Yeah, the old the old NR 2003 promotion. Yeah, that's epic. I love that so much. As someone who constantly does fun little simulations on NR 2003, it just puts a smile on my face.
I like that they changed just enough of the schedule and just enough parts of the season that, there's always something like that to look forward to. I'd actually kind of forgotten about the Nashville weekend coming up. That's going to be, who knows? I mean, given that we haven't seen it on the circuit in a few years, I have no clue how the current model cars are going to handle that, but, that'll be something we'll all find out.
Yeah, me and Alex are going to be there, so we're really looking forward to seeing that.
Yep, Nashville?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. I plan on going to the Indy 500 as well. I'm hoping the Indy Road Course, that was the other one I definitely want to go to. Unfortunately,
there we go.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I missed out on tickets to the Bristol Dirt Race, but I can obviously go there in the fall as well. And but
it's not the dirt race.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah, we'll try to get to the World of Outlaw race there.
Yeah, we can do it.
I mean, if you watch the old video of the sprint cars running there back when they did that in the early 2000s, it was, oh my God, that's something else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's
literally just
on a show for sure.
Full way around. And apparently, Sammy Swindell doesn't have a ride for that yet. Dude won both of the races there.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's like, come on, Kevin, give your dad a ride for this. Bring a second sprint car and let's do it.
Yeah, that's maybe some of these people will just start coming out of the woodwork the closer we get to the date.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know he's got Spencer Baston, I think, supposed to drive for him there, but actually I need to look this up because I just remember, I think it's invite only. I'm not sure if Sammy's even been invited.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which that would be, so first off, he isn't invited to the Chili Bowl International Race of Champions, which he is a 5-time champion of that race, mind you. And if he's not invited to the World of Outlaw Bristol Bash, okay, which he won both editions of already, I mean, what's going on? What's everyone got against Sammy?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out if I missed anything. I know Alex Bowman just revealed a paint scheme he's going to drive at Phoenix, which apparently is going to be called the Instacart 500. So that's a really interesting thing. And, of course, I bring up Phoenix, and I just realized, of course, at this point a year ago is pretty much when everything went to crap. And I can't help but look back at that Phoenix race and go, like, everything was just normal. And then right after that, originally NASCAR was going to race at Atlanta with no fans, and then they sent everybody home last second, and then the rest was history pretty much for 2020. Anything that, of course, I know don't want to bring it up, but anything that you guys can reflect back on during this time a year ago?
Oh gosh, I mean that was the thing. The last race I've covered was Fontana last year in beginning of March, and you could tell I could tell when Garrett Smithley didn't want to shake my hand. And again, nothing against him. I mean, he was just as concerned as the rest of us were about what this was. Right. There were definitely inklings that people were concerned about what was going on through that, and then of course, they started canceling the races and moving them around, and our home track here in Sears Point got wiped, so I'm already still counting down the days to early June on that. But and of course, on top of that, I worked at the time. I worked in the emergency room as a registration clerk on night shift. So that was a hairy few months there. I've since transferred into public health. So similar work, but different demands there. But it was a hairy time for sure. But definitely looking to for something different this year.
Goodness, yeah, I think a year ago for me, I was getting ready for the last race I've run up to this point, which was the Shamrock Classic at the Klein. And I tell you what, just knowing what was going to happen after that, I really wish I would have try to appreciate that moment just a little bit more. Because at the time I didn't know it would be over a year until my next race. I do have stuff scheduled now. It's just going to be a little bit off now. I didn't know that was going to be my final race for my former car owner. Because, what happened since then.
Right.
Alex, but,
Yep.
It's just one of those things that, you don't understand how good you have it until all of a sudden it's all gone.
Yeah. I feel like that's the case with a lot of things. You never really appreciate something until it's gone. And, that Phoenix race being pretty much the last normal race weekend we've had for a while, I remain hopeful that by the time we get to Phoenix this fall, we'll be back up and running, and it'll be just like what it was. Obviously, I know a couple states out there have already decided that they're going to lift the mask mandates, and it's a little risky because obviously vaccinations are still going out. I'm not sure, Michael. We're both in Kentucky. Phase 1C just started. I think if we can somehow get an appointment, we both might be able to get vaccinations at some point. So,
yeah, certainly want to do that as soon as we can.
Yeah. And by the way, Brock, with your job, just want to say thank you for what you do. I know it's been a very difficult road for you in this past year.
Yeah, thank you, man. Is Brock here?
I have lost connection.
Oh, I'm still here.
Oh,
sorry about that. I was just picking up the car.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
No worries.
There you go.
We were just saying.
I could have left it off mute, but I was like, well, I don't know if you want to hear me interrupt your conversation with that. So, yeah, no, I'm still here.
All righty. Yeah, we just wanted to say thank you for what you do, obviously, with your job. And I know these last several months or year pretty much has been kind of hairy for you.
Oh, absolutely. No, I appreciate it. There's a lot of really good people there. They're still working there, and we're all, like I said, we're all in this together, and it's definitely that situation there. But it's but I share with you guys, and I'm sure the listening audience as well. The sooner we get back to some semblance of normalcy, where you could enjoy racing in person, and we were talking earlier about getting qualifying back and practice back. Hey, I'm right here with you guys on that. So, I think the greatest season ever tag will stick much better with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We certainly want to get vaccinated as soon as we can, but at the same time, we want to let everybody who really needs them, people at higher risk, get them before we do.
Definitely. So, one step at a time, really. As a matter of fact, back on Monday, for the first time in exactly a year, I actually saw a movie in a movie theater, which felt kind of nice.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. Last one, I think, just curious, was the last one that you saw the time we went to see My Hero Academia?
I'm pretty sure that was it. I remember that was the last movie I saw in the theater before COVID hit, and that was in Florence. And then this past Monday, I went and saw the Tom and Jerry movie because why not?
I'll tell you, these days I'm missing popcorn about as much as the movies these days. Like just the experience, that's the thing.
Yeah, I think I've been to see one movie since this all happened, and that was when they brought Akira back for one night.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
You both have good taste. I like it. Right on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we talked a lot about anime last time you were on here. So.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I've been obsessed with K-On!, which I wish I would have watched much sooner because it cures depression. It really does.
It does.
It does. It's amazing. It's a great slice of life show to watch. Seriously.
See, there you go.
Yeah, I just finished watching Neon Genesis Evangelion, which obviously has become one of my favorite, classic animes now, I guess. I guess it would be classic, wouldn't it?
I'd say so.
Like, what is that? Is it usually 25 years? Something like that?
It seems like it's been at least that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this week I've been binging on High Rise Invasion, which was just released on Netflix. It's a really good show. If you guys haven't watched it, I definitely recommend go checking that out.
Yeah.
And I also started watching Wonder Egg Priority.
Okay.
Which is a beautiful anime. It deals with some really heavy issues like suicide and depression. It definitely hits hard for people who have gone through that. So, if that's your thing, absolutely go check that one out.
Okay. Interesting. What was that called again?
Wonder Egg Priority.
Wonder Egg Priority. Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at High Rise Evasion. I have that saved on my things to watch on Netflix. And, we'll see what else I can watch. Still need to finish K-On! Though, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, I've got a few episodes to go on that one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and the thing is, I just don't want to finish it,
I know.
I don't want it to end.
Yeah. I think there was...
Yeah, I heard it was continued as a manga, so I may have to start getting that.
Yeah, I saw that the other day, and I was like, I kind of want to see how things were then after the series. Because, something I fail to realize is that even though, sometimes an anime series ends, the manga series still continues on much longer after the anime. Which, there's those people that go, read the manga. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got into manga simply to continue the series that, finished up anime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let me say this. It sounds like they may be ending the Attack on Titan anime before the manga. If that happens, man, I'm going to go off. Okay?
For real?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm going to go off. I mean, because it's like, how can you do that? How can you do that? Just leave us hanging there when there's so much more of the story to tell.
Yeah.
It's amazing some of these decisions they make behind the scenes. I mean, it's, but I don't know. I think it's coming to a satisfying conclusion in anything. I think is the challenge in a lot of these series. Some of them just end and it's just like, oh my gosh, is that really it? Like, remember when I finished Bleach? I was like, wait, I thought there was more. Like, that was just weird.
Yeah. And then sometimes some of them get
kind of what I was like with Neon Genesis. I mean, it was like, what the hell was that ending?
Right.
Well, that was pretty infamous, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still have no idea what to make of that.
Jeez. You guys got to get Cody Ware on this show one of these days. I bet he'd have some good hot takes on this, too.
Yeah. I'd love to get Cody Ware on this.
That would be awesome. I'd love to have him on.
Yeah, he's a hoot. Definitely. I've only spoken to him a couple of times there. I haven't had an anime chat with him yet. Maybe that would allow us to kind of break bread, given that I've written about a couple of last place finishes there that I'm sure he'd rather I didn't. But it comes with the territory.
Yeah, I've spoken to him with anime over Twitter quite a bit. Yeah, and actually, when I went to Daytona this year, when he drove by, in the truck like they were doing, I just yelled out, "Senpai!"
Senpai, that's great.
Question, now, did Senpai notice you?
I think he did, yeah.
There you go.
He noticed you.
Right on.
I mean, how many dudes are going to be screaming "Senpai" at a NASCAR race?
Not a whole lot.
Never know.
That's true, though.
Oh, good time.
Yeah. And, I think I saw that My Hero Academia is coming out with the 5th season later this month.
Yep. They are. Yeah.
I just finished up the 4th season, so looking forward to that.
about time.
Right on.
I kept telling you, I was like, I'd love to talk to you about season 4, but you haven't watched it. But, you know. Oh, man. Yeah, so, yeah, I'd love to have Cody Ware on here. Seems like a really cool dude.
Yeah, you know, if we can get back in the garage areas, could probably ask him there. Doesn't seem like he responds to DMs much.
Yeah.
Doesn't really shock me.
That's all right.
Yeah, you know, I know people who don't really read their stuff.
Yeah,
especially when you go through what he has.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of garage areas, I can't wait to go back in the garage area. Just like when I had credentials to Kentucky Speedway those couple of times, I miss that so much.
Yeah. Oh man, you really need to go through withdrawal after a while here. But man, yeah. I mean, and I know it's going to be tough if they're going to keep some of these distancing rules in there, you know, and all that. I know that's going to be difficult for, you know, smaller organizations and stuff like that to get seats. And I'm hoping they could find a compromise where, you know, if the Associated Press requests 4 seats, maybe they do 3 and they let some more people in. But you just can't tell these days. It's all pretty unpredictable.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, it makes matters worse that our track is now off the schedule. So it's just like, great.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. I didn't even think of that.
Pain.
Goodness.
Yeah. You know, I know it seems like a lot of people were really happy to see that track go, but when you grew up there, when that's the place that got you into racing, and then it just kind of gets cast aside like that, it hurts. I mean, it really does.
Yeah. I went to my very first race there back in June of 2005. I saw Carl Edwards beat Martin Truex Jr. in the Meyer 300, and then the next year I saw David Gilliland shock the world right there in person. So, got a lot of memories there. Too many to be exact.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you know, we built a lot of good memories there, and it's certainly hope that someday it'll be added back to the circuit.
Yeah. But, of course, you know, Brock, you being out in California, Fontana, which, of course, not on the schedule this year, but they'll be back, and it's going to be turned into a short track. I don't think I've ever asked. What are your thoughts on that track becoming a short track?
You know, some mixed feelings there. I could definitely, you know, see from, you know, some of your comparisons with Kentucky there. Like that wasn't really a track that I grew up with so much, but, you know, I've been there a couple times, you know, in the last few years, and I've, you know, really enjoyed it. It's been very accessible. I think it's just one of those tracks. I mean, I think all tracks are better in person, but I think some tracks in particular just don't show well on TV. I think Dover kind of falls in that category also. But I imagine, like, you know, I imagine if Dover's anything like Fontana, I think it'd be breathtaking in person. I think, you know, there's really not really a bad seat there. You can see most of the action. You know, we've, you know, had some unusual things happen there the last couple of years, like Kevin Harvick getting in a huge crash and still managing to keep going under the crash clock. You know, I don't know what a short track would look like. My gut feeling is that they're doing this as a way to position it for a finale because maybe they're not satisfied with Phoenix already after this last year. It's kind of a stretch, but you know, I think it's put on some decent races, though. I think it's a kind of racing that it doesn't really deserve to be lumped in with a lot of the mile and a half, you know, like the other mile and a half, kind of like your Chicago's, your Kansases, even Las Vegas, that are almost entirely identical. I mean, even Kentucky had more personality with kind of that really rough surface and things like that. So, you know, but
I think we'll both agree with you here that the reconfiguration and resurfacing kind of ruined the track.
I think it did. Yeah.
You know, so, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's mixed feelings. I mean, I'd be open to what they're going to do with it as a short track. I mean, I guess they're going to have to put the garage areas on the outside of the track, which is going to be weird. I don't even know what that's going to actually – I know they've showed plans, but physically being there, what that's going to look like, I don't have to fog it. It could just be the configuration seems really strange that they're going with, and I know they're trying to use as much of the track as possible, but It's up in the air, but I've been wrong before on things I'm skeptical about. So who knows?
Yeah, it's gonna be very weird to see, especially when we've grown up seeing it being the big, wide open 2-mile track. It's gonna be weird.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to really push to try to cover that last race there because I want to see if they're going to do the thing like they did at Richmond where they put Richard Petty in a bulldozer and started tearing up the track the next day. I want to be there for that if they're doing it.
Be Jimmy Johnson doing that?
Yeah, maybe. You never know.
Yeah. That's his home track after all, and Johnson got his first of 83 wins there back in 2002.
Yeah, how about that? Hey, you heard it here first, folks. If NASCAR picks up on it, you know where maybe the idea came from.
He called it.
Huh. So I was actually just reading this article here, and it was actually about Sammy Swindell running Bristol. And something interesting I saw in that is that he said he'd really like to run a stock car there.
Huh, really?
So maybe we hear about Sammy Swindell hopping in a Cup car.
Now doing it, or doing it this year?
I guess.
Wow. Well, that would be something. I mean, hey, racing, you never know.
That'd be his first Cup start in 30 years?
I think so.
Derek Cope come back, so you never know.
Exactly. Oh man.
Yeah.
So with that being said,
How about Bill Lester too, potentially coming back?
Yes.
Bill Lester, yes.
I'm excited about that.
That was the other thing that happened. Yeah, I'm like, I mean, he walked it back a little and said that he's planning to come back. It sounds like they're getting some sponsorship together, but hopefully it happens, man. I mean, that'll be really cool. I love it when
it's happening now. It's happening now. Marcus Lemonis said they would fund it.
Yeah, he's
really?
Come up.
Oh, right on. They're pointing Marcus's favor on that one. Very cool.
Yeah, I actually been reading his book here lately, and it's honestly really good. I mean, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, I'd definitely recommend it.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
Definitely.
Yeah, that reminds me.
That was cool.
Yeah, that reminds me, Brock. Don't you have a book coming out here soon, too?
I do indeed. I was waiting for a perfect transition for that.
Yeah.
Yes. So I, after publishing my biography of J.D. McDuffie a couple of years ago, I announced last month, before the Daytona 500, that my next book is going to be on Derek Cope. So it's going to be not only an account of his win in the Daytona 500 in 1990 and his subsequent win at Dover, but really a description of his entire career. I was actually just working on it a little bit on my lunch break today. Awesome. So it's going to be it's over 50,000 words at the moment. Still kind of working on how we're going to get it published, but aiming for releasing it later this year.
That's awesome.
Sounds great.
Oh, thank you. We've interviewed Derek, his wife Alicia, Buddy Parrott, Dave Fulton, some other people that worked with him with Purelator and his other sponsors along the way. He still stays in touch with a lot of these people, and it's been a very different experience in some ways than the JD book, but still some similarities, though. I think it'll be a good follow-up in terms of a story that maybe is popularly known, but not with all the details that he knows. And so that's going to be really the effect of that.
Mm-hmm. And we'll definitely look forward to
awesome.
that. Yeah. Definitely look forward to it.
But Derek Cope Unheralded is the working title at the moment.
Okay. I actually, before I met Michael, this was when Starcom Racing first announced. I think if you go back in the Grueling Truth archives, I do have a time where I interviewed Derek Cope and the guys at Starcom when they just started out late in the 2017 season.
Oh, there we go. Excellent.
Yeah.
You never told me about that.
Oh, I didn't? Yeah, I talked to him once. He was a really nice, down-to-earth. I thought he was a really fun guy to talk to. And obviously, it's kind of cool because I'm sitting there like, man, I'm talking to the 1990 Daytona 500 winner. This is kind of cool. So, Yeah, it was really.
That's how I get every time I go to Silverbank's coffee shop. I mean.
Yeah, the 2011 Daytona 500 winner. Next time I walk into a Love's, I'll be like, "This is the sponsor of the 2021 Daytona 500 winner." But it's funny to think that sometimes.
No, that was a huge story in and of itself. Definitely the involvement of Starcom and what they've done just in these last couple of years. I mean, still building, a program just like a lot of these other guys out there. But that's definitely something that'll be in the book as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously, I also wanted to bring this up real quick as well before we make Vegas picks. But some screenshots for the sequel to Space Jam came out today, and I just remembered that they were planning spin-offs of it. Like, for example, they wanted to do a race jam with Jeff Gordon once upon a time. Of course, Jeff Gordon ended up appearing in Looney Tunes Back in Action that came out in, I think, 2003. So I thought I'd bring up that little fun piece of information.
Are they actually going through with that?
I hope that'd be
They're
cool.
actually making it? Huh.
No, but
I heard it was kind of up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, they released the screenshots from Space Jam 2 featuring LeBron James, and I mean, if they made a race jam, I would love that. Like, I think you could certainly add in Bubba Wallace in there. Especially, imagine Bugs Bunny and Jordan teaming back up with Bubba. That'd be kind of cool. You could throw in a guy like Suarez or Chase Elliott even.
Yeah, no, that'd be something kind of cool too. I mean, again, I think anything that kind of brings up the drivers' personality. I think it's a great way to market the sport.
Yeah, we just need another movie like Days of Thunder or Striker Ace, even. Yes, me.
Definitely. Definitely
never
use
know.
a movie like that.
Yeah. And, I was watching this video the other day. It was from WTF1, the Formula One YouTube channel. They were talking about the worst racing films. And don't ask me why, but they absolutely ripped into Days of Thunder.
I figure one guys wouldn't like it.
Yeah. In fact, that was actually one of the things he said. He was like, well, it's a NASCAR movie, so...
Well, first of all, I mean, what the heck? I mean, you can take that with a grain of salt. It's like my review of Driven. Like, I mean, I think that movie's a pile of junk, but it's at least Alan.
Oh my God! Wait, hold on. So I got to tell you this, Brock. Earlier today, I was walking around the mall after I did all my tax stuff. I go into this new gaming store that just opened. They got a lot of retro games, and I'm looking at the GameCube stuff, and guess what they have?
Oh, no.
The Driven game.
Oh,
wait,
brilliant.
The Driven game?
I had no idea they even made that. Like, if the movie was that bad, then how bad is this game? I almost thought of buying it just to try it.
Oh,
I'm curious. I'm looking this up. My God. There isn't much of a wiki page.
I guess so.
Yeah.
IGN gave the GameCube score a 3.6 out of 10, so that doesn't sound too promising.
Probably because you can't pick up quarters on the rear tires or not, It's not challenging enough.
Alex, have you ever seen this movie? I just got to ask, have you ever seen this movie?
I've seen a lot of clips, but not the full movie.
Oh, my God.
Sight to behold.
Dude, just come to my house. I'll put it on Crackle. It's free on Crackle. I'll put it on and see just how far into it we can get.
Deal.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. I'm just letting you know.
I can imagine.
I don't know what makes Jimmy Hamlin think that's the best racing movie ever.
Well,
I know. I think Chicago Motor Speedway, the other track they built in Cicero, made an appearance in that movie.
It did.
Yep.
It did.
I found that
Dr. Bell made a video on it too, which I definitely go check that out because he also makes some really good points on that. Why that movie is just a steaming pile of shit, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
Well, there's plenty of material to work with, that's for sure. I think there's a Marshall Pruitt article where he goes through it like scene by scene. I still haven't finished it because it's so long, but he like absolutely dissects that thing.
I mean, what is there to like about that movie? Like, other than the fact that racing's in it.
It's very early 2000s, corny, Daredevil kind of music, which is fine. But that's about all I can say about it.
Right.
Yeah. The only thing that movie has going for it is the fact that it was early 2000s IndyCar action, and to me, I just loved seeing IndyCar from that era because that's what I grew up from. Even knowing now how bad the sport was at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
which actually I guess I also wanted to go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you forgive the plug right quick, definitely got to mention NASCAR Man's video on the IRL and kart split that he had me narrate there recently. Just released the third part of it. Gives a bit more context to why, well, perhaps another part of the puzzle as to why that movie didn't really play as well as it could have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up right there. Yeah, I've been watching that, actually. Yeah, I think it's a really good series so far. Did you say it was going to be a 4-part?
I think so. Again, full credit to NASCAR Man there for putting together the script and the editing and the research on that. I believe it's 4 parts. I'm not sure. I haven't received the script for the 4th part yet. But yeah, it's been quite the experience. There's a lot about it that I didn't follow open wheel racing as closely back then, so it's been kind of a learning experience for me as well. But very comprehensive in the details.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad saying this, but when I go back and I want to watch some old IndyCar clips, that's my favorite time to go back to. Just because, me, I'm a dirt track guy. And, of course, you go back and you look at the late 90s IRL, it was all the dirt track guys, really. I mean, and yeah, you had guys like Salazar, Guerrero, but, you also had Tony Stewart, Davey Hamilton, Buddy Lazier. And, those are the guys who I grew up watching.
Right.
That's true. No, that definitely, you definitely get more of an appreciation of that diversity they had.
Yeah, it's like, and obviously the split was a terrible thing. I will just say that. At the same time, it kind of showed issues that you had with IndyCar racing at the time and how, it just seemed like no one was willing to come to an agreement on how to solve that.
Yeah.
But, to really understand the sport, you got to understand the sport's history. You got to look at the good times and the bad times there. But, it definitely gives more of an appreciation of, where the sport's come and what it's learned from things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And to be fair, I would like to see more of what, the IRL was trying to achieve. Be brought into modern-day IndyCar, and that may be controversial to say because it may sound like I'm saying we need another split. It's obviously not, but I would like to see the dirt guys get more opportunities than they do now, and I also like to see maybe some more ovals on the circuit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely see what you mean there.
Yeah. Well, IndyCar is kind of going through a bit of seems some changes itself. It seems like every other week I'm hearing about some other guy that's considering going into IndyCar. I guess Kamui Kobayashi was in the conversation at some point. So we'll, maybe that's going to bringing in talent like that is going to maybe steer the sport a different direction from where it is now, and maybe create something unique, kind of like what we saw in a different time period, without having a split.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, let's wrap things up, if that's okay. Y'all want to make picks for the races at Vegas?
Yep.
Sure.
All right. I'll go ahead and dive into the Truck Series. Obviously, Kyle Busch is going to be a favorite to win. If it's not Kyle, who else are you guys liking?
Gonna go with Ben. See if he goes 3 for 3.
All right. I can see that.
Of course, I am biased with that. So.
I don't blame you.
You know, if it's not going to be Kyle Busch, I'm going to be pulling for one of the Camping World guys there, and I'm trying to wonder who would be the best of that. I mean, you would think Sheldon Creed for being the defending series champion, but I'm almost thinking Enfinger, even though it's with CR7 and Rohrba's team there. You never know. So they might hit on something there, and that would be one to watch, I think.
Yeah, that CR7 car seems like it's had some speed. So.
Yeah. Raphael Lessard possibly as well. I think he's one of the Camping World guys this weekend as well. So, yeah, absolutely. I think those could be some pretty good favorites. Let's see. For me, if it's not Kyle, I think Rhodes and Creed might be some good options there for sure. Enfinger and Lessard. Besides that, moving over to the Xfinity race, Myatt Snyder is going to be leading things from the pole. Obviously, I think Austin Cindric would probably be a big favorite here. Definitely fire hot, favorite to win the championship. Although, for me, I'd say look out for Daniel Hemrick.
Good pick.
Yeah, he's about due.
Long overdue.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of long overdue, I'm going to go with Ryan Sieg. That guy, I feel like I jinx him every week because every time I turn on an Xfinity race, he's restarting on the front row on old tires, and something happens and he misses out on it. But one of the races, he was really improving on the 1.5 miles last year. I know it was still in Chevys, but I was very impressed with his playoff run, and with Vegas being positioned where it is in the playoffs. I think maybe an outside. I'm a little biased in this, but definitely keep an eye on the 39.
Okay. Good choice there.
You know what? I think I'm going to go with Moffitt.
Okay. Yeah.
Our Motorsports is shown to have some serious speed.
They do.
In that car.
Yeah, they absolutely.
I mean, the way he was just ripping the fence there at Homestead showed that he can get it done. So.
Yeah.
I think he's won here in the trucks before too. So, obviously, this is a track that I believe he's had some success on.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with our Motorsports. Definitely a team to watch. They were super fast at Homestead last week. Obviously, Moffitt came rather close, and same with Reddick.
Can I just remark? I don't know if I said this in my last appearance on here. I'm really enjoying the Xfinity Series so much these last few years. It almost feels like the way the Cup Series was 2 decades ago, where you have like maybe 5 or 6 like high flying teams, and then a real interesting collection of like people that could potentially pull something off and pull off a victory or a strong finish. And also still like some underdogs and some motor drivers and underfunded guys out there. I think the group they have is a real interesting group that I've really enjoyed.
Yeah, and actually, just because I was looking at the playoffs, just to kind of get an idea of my pick here, just some interesting names I'm seeing up here. We have Brandon Brown in 9th, Jeremy Clements in 8th, Landon Castles in 12th, Kyle Weatherman from Mike Carmen Racing's in 13th.
Yeah, so
Brown and Mike Carmen both did great last year.
Yeah.
And first part of this year.
Yeah, Mike Carmen Racing seems like they've been picking it up.
Yeah, it really does feel like that, especially with Weatherman.
Yeah, they got. I think both both cars on Harmon's team have new sponsors this week, so good deal for them.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm still curious to what made Weatherman's car make that sound at Homestead, though. I don't know if you guys saw that video.
Was that Weatherman that did that? Okay, I was wondering whose car that was. Okay. Yeah, it sounded like, I don't know, the East failing or something. It sounded like it was just like, something was just off under the hood there.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in the garage at so many races and, as a crew member, and I've never heard a car make that sound before.
Yeah, no clue.
Yeah, that is bizarre. And then the NASCAR Cup Series. It almost feels like, could we get another first-time winner or another different kind of winner out of the blue? Who knows? Honestly, I might have to. I'm for some reason I'm thinking Kyle Larson.
Okay.
He's rolling off third on Sunday.
Yeah, he's been real good this year. So, yeah. You know what? I'm going to say we keep this trend of surprise winners going, and I say we get our third first-time winner this year because he's finished second in both races here last year, going with Matt DiBenedetto. I say he turns the season around and gets that first win this weekend.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. He's been off.
He's really been rough to start the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been off to a rather shaky start, but I think he'll turn it around.
Yeah, I'm going with Alex Bowman. I think Bowman has shown some tremendous speed these first couple of rounds. Obviously, the pole at the Daytona 500, and in this race last year, he and Ryan Blaney looked like they were set to have like one whale of a battle until some green-white checkered sloppiness ended up giving it to Joey Logano. I think Bowman is going to be, especially now, in the 48, get that team a win for the first time. Jimmy's retirement and all that. This is another combination where it's kind of like Ryan Sieg in the 39. It's like a matter of, it feels like it's going to happen at some point. Why not now? And Bowman in particular is good at these downforce tracks. And he seems to be decent at Homestead, at least at certain times of that race. But I think, potentially breakthrough in this one.
All right. I'm liking that. All right. We're definitely going to be in for an exciting weekend at Vegas, a triple header, a bit of a smaller West Coast sweep this time around, but still always enjoyable to watch. That being said, I think we've just about covered everything.
Yeah. Can I just say this here, just to close this off? And Brock, I think you may agree with me on this.
What's that?
Just to replace Auto Club, which obviously had to be moved from the schedule this year because of COVID. What if we had actually, I guess this will work too because it's also in California, Sonoma, just because I want to see them race with the green Sonoma.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. I don't know about the people, working at the track, because I know, a summer date has its advantages because, of course, you have a lot of tourism that time of year, and people wanting to go to, San Francisco at a time where, ideally when we don't have, what's going on in the world now, maybe the one or two sunny weekends a year that you get to San Francisco. You watch some of those classic races where even when it's a month earlier and they ran it in May and the track just looks even more gorgeous as the green facility, I think that would be great. I think it would really add to the character of the track as being in the middle of wine country and stuff, and adding it to the West Coast swing. I mean, hey, if the race is earlier in the year and I don't have to wait till June for it, I'm all for it. Although I like the rhythm of my year building towards the summer, but that would be a small price to pay.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So besides that, I think that'll go ahead and wrap things up here on this special edition of the Dropping the Hammer in the Racing Hour. Brock, once again, thank you so much for joining us once again. It was great having you.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And Michael Klein, of course. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Michael, by the way?
I will add to expect an announcement regarding my 2021 plans, regarding me being behind the wheel here soon. We're trying to get the final things worked out now. So hopefully we have something to announce here by the end of the month is what we're hoping for, maybe sooner. So just be on the lookout for that.
Okay, good. Good. Glad to hear about that. And, from Brock Beard, Michael Klein, and myself, I'm Alex Gray signing off. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Peace.